So, it's been a few months now, especially since I've created an update, but also since I've started my 2A journey. I can tell you now that it's been very interesting. You learn a lot of things as far as what the community has to deal with and how stupid some of the laws are. For example, pistol caliber carbines and pistol braces and tax stamps. Probably make that another follow-up show. But throughout my journey, I've been looking at the many different milestones that I've achieved. They may be small to those who have been doing this for a long time, but again, I'm starting. I have had 2 previous shotguns. One is a Mossberg Maverick 88. The other one is a KSG, which I call Black Hammer. I think it's a good shotgun. Most people either love or hate that one, but maybe I'll do a review on that later on. I'm still trying to get some things moving as far as making progress towards videotaping my actual range time. Also, I got to see if my cameraman would probably be cool with that. I think he would be, but still, future videos nonetheless. But the process of learning, it has led me down a path to where I realize that I need to accept the old in order to embrace the new, if you will. By that I mean, you cannot forget the skills that you have achieved in your past, because one skill never trumps another one. If anything, the skills that you continue to build over time should only complement the skills that you have acquired. So, for example, I know that as far as African American society, we have gone out and fully embraced our 2A rights, which over the years never really would have been anything that your common everyday black person would have thought of. If anything, being labeled with the stereotype of all black people that utilize firearms are thugs kind of makes the honest people not want to go out and just embrace that community. That's just what media, society, whatever, movies even, will have you think. And ironically enough, those same movies in that same society will also have you think that certain aspects about guns are factual and should not be argued. Like, for example, a silencer placed on any weapon completely silences the weapon. We'll get into that later. Or if you're curious, you can go check out the Warrior Poet Society. John Lovell has some really good information, and I highly recommend them. I know my my status is just a drop in the bucket, or maybe a small molecule in a lake at this point, whenever it comes to what that man has achieved. But still, definitely worth checking out. But yeah, media and society, just, we don't really spend a lot of time trying to fact check and make sure that our information is solid. If anything, it's, wow, sorry, I'm driving and there's a bunch of geese in the road. Okay, that's strange. Okay, I have to cut that part out. Only in Georgia. Oh man. Where the hell did I leave off at? But nonetheless, it has come time for us as a society to do more research on our own and learn on our own. Hence the reason why the skills that we have acquired over time should never be trumped by the skills that we're utilizing and acquiring now. They're meant to build us, to give us more character as people, as a society. And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why I feel I have to record my two-way journey. I was part of the society at one point that believed that we didn't need civilian class rifles. Those being like the Armalite class, Armalite 15, Armalite 10. I think there's even an Armalite 9 right now. AK-47s, so on and so forth. Most people tend to demonize those weapons, but I also, after doing a lot more research on my own, I've come to realize that these said weapons that have been demonized by the, well, common social and media aspects do come in handy for everyday life for some people. You can't expect a hunter to go out with a crossbow or a bow and arrow every single day and take down something like a hog. They actually pay hunters to control the hog population in Texas. You can't just go out with a crossbow and expect to do that. There are herds of these animals, and these animals are actually, they have thick hides. They're pretty tough. A 9mm, if I've done my research right, would not have any effect on trying to put these animals down. Now, I know that sounds harsh, kind of heartless, brutal even, but these animals do need to be controlled because they carry disease. And they also infringe upon the land of farmers, which means that there could be certain food items that will be affected by this population, which I believe is invasive. An invasive population is basically something that is taken over control of unnaturally. So, say for example, if I had a overabundance of a frog population, and this reminds me of a Simpsons episode. I think this is exactly what happened, but there's overabundance of a population of frogs. So in order to counter that, we introduce these new types of, let's just say, cats that love to eat frogs. They're very aggressive, borderline feral, but nonetheless they take care of the frog population. But once the frog population dwindles down, now we have to worry about the overabundance of the cat population. So, it just goes on and on. The only thing that can naturally control anything at that point is by human intervention. Hence the hunters that use calibers varying from 300 blackout and up. And there's a really good channel on YouTube that kind of highlights this. He's a black hunter that uses the AR-10 platform, I believe, and you can see what he does. And by no means am I trying to upset PETA or anything, but we are part of the population, be it animal or social population, that does come in contact with these things. We have a tendency to not live amongst the animals, but we have more so mindset of taking over certain land areas and making it ours, populating it for your average everyday human life, if you will. Hence farms and small cities, rural areas. But nonetheless, the disease even happens to affect the hog population as well. But again, that'll probably be another video. I hope to continue to increase my knowledge and share it with you all to the point where I may, with any luck, be able to interview that hunter one day, which I think would be pretty cool. I'll leave a link to his YouTube profile below. But again, the demonization of the 2A community comes from the knowledge of what we are fed, not what we have learned or taken time to understand. These tools do happen to provide a living for people who tend to utilize them on a daily basis. Hell, if I could, I'd probably go down to Texas and hunt a couple of hogs. And I don't have any hunting experience, but I know it pays. A couple of dollars isn't bad. But I've come to realize that the more I continue to look into this community, the more I realize that I hadn't educated myself well enough. I thought that gun control could be something that is controlled by the government, regulated a little bit more stricter, so on and so forth. The typical media jargon that they feed you. But when you think about it, gun control is meant for the people that are honest, the ones that actually do want to continue their lifestyle or continue to build up the defenses for their homes in order to protect their family. Everybody has a mindset that the police will just magically appear and things will be okay. Honestly, especially now, I would much rather be able to be there for a police report, go through the whole trial aspect or whatever. Trial pretty much would happen if you had to discharge your weapon out in a public area, but due to the fact that I'm defending my castle, which falls underneath the castle doctrine, I shouldn't have to go to court, especially if it's justified. So if I do have to discharge my weapon or my firearm on my own property, it's justified. I fear for my life and I'm protecting what is in my area, my private property. But that does have limitations as well. Say, for example, if you have your car in the driveway and somebody is outside stealing it, you do not have a right to shoot them unless you feel like you are threatened. So that wouldn't be justified. It's better to let somebody take your property than go out and cause a confrontation that could potentially put your life at risk, or so the law says. However you tend to interpret that is however you intend to interpret that. But that also came from further education. I took a class on home defense as well as concealed carry defense. There is so much out there for us to learn as a black society, to the point where we can defend ourselves just as much as anybody else out there, instead of having the mindset of this gun will protect me and my family no matter what. Again, it's just a tool, and if you do not know how to utilize that tool properly, there will be no protection for your family. As I've stated on a group that I'm part of, Black Gun Owners in Education on Facebook, I would much rather train with the tools that I'm given than give somebody a free weapon. That safety mindset from having a firearm on you at all times is just that. It's a mindset, but there's nothing backing it up. But if I go out and I train and I study and I dry fire, go to the range, even utilize certain new technology to help me learn how to better utilize my firearm, that makes me better overall. I'm not trying to sound like a snob or anything, but that will help make me better overall as far as bettering myself in the streets and in my house whenever it comes to firearm safety. You can't just carry the weapon around and think that that changes everything. That only creates you as a danger for society, for yourself, and for your family. And as far as rifles and shotguns go, most people don't understand why, especially you would need a rifle. My main reason for having one is due to the fact that rifles are more accurate than handguns. Rifles have higher calibers than handguns, sometimes, depending on, or excuse me, not calibers, but they have a higher round count whenever you compare it to your normal handgun. Let's just say 15 rounds versus a magazine of 30 rounds for a rifle. I have a better chance of utilizing the extra 15 rounds in that rifle versus missing all 15 of my shots. And if I don't have a backup magazine, then my 15 shots are for nothing. That's another reason why training is essential. Because if you can't even place one round on your target, you're basically wasting your time, and you have that weapon for nothing. That's why you need to train. Train as often as you can, train as often as possible to make sure that you justify spending that money. And I think that's one thing that I really hope to get through to the black community that has now become part of the 2A society. I'm not trying to speak like I am a upper echelon elite person. No, I'm speaking from the mindset of somebody who is continuing this journey and is new in this journey. It does bring me a lot of happiness, a lot of pride to see more and more people come into the social media aspect of the 2A community. And like I said, the Black Gun Owners and Educations Forum on Facebook is an excellent reason or an excellent source to further your education, to further your knowledge as far as becoming better and becoming a contributing member to this society. And even just networking. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing that's going to get us through all of this is working together, not trying to work apart. But thanks for your time. I just ask that you please continue to follow me on my journal. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe. And if you feel maybe I'm miseducated in certain aspects, let me know down below. This has been Yasuke Lives. I will see y'all next time.